you're all involved with kind of various, musical projects. What are you tapping into with this project, and what aspects of yourself do you think come across in it that don't in the others?
Well, me for starters, I mean, obviously, I'm singing a lot more in this than I've ever done. So that's kind of a new venture. Because I do like, singing here and there in other projects, but it's definitely developed my kind of ear for a melody and coming up with catchy tunes.
I'm in the same, similar boat. Never played drums and done main vocals before, which is wild, new thing. In terms of styles, I feel like...
Yeah, this is definitely very different to anything I've ever played.
Yeah. I feel like we're all very rhythmically based in terms of the way we think about music as individuals, so it kind of just has naturally come into this like very rhythmic kind of sound, I feel, as a unit.
It's good to have no rules on guitar, I feel. Could just go crazy. And neither of you will say anything about it.
Yeah.
Well,
to an extent.
Like, sometimes we play around and we're like, no, stop.
But
nah, we all give each other a lot of space within the songs, which is really good to leave a lot of room for vocal ideas, which I've never really explored to the same extent that we're doing in this band.
I think as well we all have a very kind of unique approach to how we kind of write with this band, and like I feel like we're exploring and not experimenting, but doing a lot of things that we've never done or never had the chance to. Especially together.
Are there certain things that you feel are easier to communicate? You're saying this is the first time you're on vocals and lyrics. And are there certain things that are easier to communicate in instrumentation? Ideas and
in terms of what, like feeling or
ideas or feelings or just various aspects of yourself.
I feel like as musicians we kind of have like quite a bizarre like click for like we write songs like way faster than any project I've been in at least. And I feel like for both of you as well, it's just like it just really happens. We have like a very similar mindset towards I don't know, structure and dynamics, just the way songs should progress. We just like all have
gels together very well.
yeah, we're definitely instrumentalists first.
Yeah.
But
we can gel ideas together.
Yeah, because the music usually, I mean, when we're writing, it's usually instruments first, and we get that done, and then think about vocals. Unless we come in with like, someone comes in with kind of a finished idea, that might have vocals on it. But in terms of, obviously I've been writing a lot more lyrics and stuff for this. I think I've found out how good I am at expressing myself through that without even really realizing it. I think that does come across in the music as well.
Yeah, it's a nice way of writing, because we'll rather than, I don't know, a lot of bands where I've been in where we've done, say, like the lead singer and songwriter will come with an idea, almost finished song, and then write the rest with the band. It's like we'll come with literally, maybe Calvin will come with a guitar, like a tiny little guitar riff, and teach Chris it, and then we'll just progress from that, play around with it until we're happy with a sort of rough structure, and then really refine it. Or like Calvin will have a bass riff, or vice versa, or I'll even have a drum beat or something that I'll just play, and then we'll like just play off each other rather than it being like one person's kind of in charge. It's very equal, which is really nice.
A very collective project, and I feel like every song's been written in a totally different way. Like whether that be we've got a full chorus with lyrics and melody and whatever, compared to sometimes it is, Luke said, it'll literally be like, could be like half a riff, and then we expand on that together. Yeah, it changes all the time, but I like it. I mean, it seems to work anyway.
It does sound like a very kind of free, kind of writing
Yeah.
and collaboration. What initially drew you to each other as collaborators? What aspects did you see in each other that you thought they would be a good person to collaborate and write with and work on music together with?
Yeah.
I'd say when I played drums, my favorite bassist to play with is Calvin.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I said, we've got to do a band. We've been in bands before, but it's never worked out.
The only times we played together before this, like as a three, it was a different configuration. It was me on guitar and singing, Chris doing drums, and Calvin on bass. But now I've swapped around. Calvin's still on bass, but
I'm singing a lot more.
But yeah, you're doing the bulk of the singing. I'm doing some of the singing on songs, and it just makes a lot more sense. It sounded really good when we were doing that before, but with like creating this new project as this setup, it makes sense. We like, me and Calvin understand each other's rhythms, and like I said, with like just creating a lot of space, Chris has a lot of room to play with that, with the kind of rhythmic ideas we're doing to create some like nice kind of a lot of textures and melodies that then vocals can sit over.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that it's taken so long for us to actually write together as a three-piece, because obviously over the past couple of years we've always helped each other with different musical things. But then it wasn't till like a couple of months ago Chris was like, here, we should actually be a band, like, together. And then, like, from the minute we started writing songs, it went so kind of seamlessly.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Like we were kind of right from the get-go, from the first or second practice, already had like 3 songs almost finished to like what I would say is a pretty good standard, and then recorded an EP within that month. So
It feels wrong how well it's went.
yeah,
Like something's up, too good to be true. That kind of feeling. But
I've got a
we'll roll with
surprise
it
for
for
you.
you. Yeah.
You don't know what I'm bringing
You
back.
don't know what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
good chemistry.
When it comes to the music as well, for you in music, what do you feel is more important, the idea or the execution?
Ooh,
I'd say execution.
I would agree. Yeah.
I think it has to be.
Yeah,
Look
a
at
poor idea executed well is better than a good idea
Yeah,
badly
definitely.
executed.
Because you can have, like, I've got hundreds of voice memos on my phone of, like, wee melodies or riffs or whatever, and I could think some of them are really bad, and then Chris will hear a bit and be like, nah, that could work. And, by the time it all culminates together,
Yeah.
like, it could be a bad idea in your head, but executed, it works really well.
As much as we have very similar mindsets for creating songs as a whole, we also have quite a number of influences like between us. So an idea that maybe I would write a sort of little chord progression on guitar and be like, oh, that's pretty naff. Chris might just be like, oh, I can see where that could go. And same with any way around, like we swap about a lot, and yeah, it's good to write like that because it always feels fresh if you're doing that, if you're writing in that way rather than kind of forcing an idea. It always just happens because someone sees potential in it, and then the execution it just stems from that really quite easily.
Do you surprise each other quite often as well then, with your ideas?
Yeah, I think so.
It's an
Yeah.
expected surprise though.
Yeah,
Like I don't know what you're gonna come up with on bass, but I know it will be good.
Yeah.
But I'm always surprised. I'm like, that was a good idea. But I knew you would come up with a good idea. Same with the drum beat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
I think
yeah.
we're often surprised by ourselves as well. Like, because sometimes, Luke was saying before, like, me and him seem to connect rhythmically really well. And sometimes we'll do, like, Chris has given us a riff and we'll kind of just jam it. And we'll find that we've connected on so many little bits without realizing. And yeah, that can be surprising, but in a good way.
Yeah, there's so
obviously.
many intricacies within a lot of the songs where in other bands I've been in, we will have spent like
A lot
maybe
of time.
weeks, just a lot of time just
Refining it and
just zooming into that one fill going into a chorus or something and being like, okay, what are you actually playing here? Oh, I can't quite get that. But it just seems to happen without even discussing it. It's really nice because then we can focus on actually kind of enhancing the feeling of a song more than like trying to, I don't know, like sort of engineer it in this kind of quite like unorganic way. It happens really organically, which is really important, I think.
And because the songs are finished quicker, there's less attachment to each song and they sound fresher. So there's less
I never thought about that.
potential conflict over songwriting decisions because
None of us are
we
precious.
just bang them out straight away and then it's on to the next one. And this one's still quite fresh as well. So they're more enjoyable and they're less precious, which makes them more precious. So it works.
Yeah.
What's the feeling of finishing a song like? How would you kind of articulate that sensation?
It's kind of weird. It never feels like we're finished in a way because we're always writing the next one. We're always kind of like working on something else and like, I don't know, I feel like
I think it seems to so far always be mutual, like on deciding when a song has reached its kind of maximum potential, you could say. And as well, because of the way we write, we're saying a lot of the songs start off as just the instrumentation. Once we've recorded that as demos, once the final layer of like vocals and melody is on that, that's when you kind of feel that feeling of it being finished, and it's like a weight off your shoulders, but not. I mean, it's not a weight on my shoulders initially, but it feels like when you hear that, when you hear the vocals on it, it's quite refreshing.
Yeah, there's something about the way we write I think is really nice. Like, we'll write the songs and then I think we all think it's I believe it's quite important to be able to listen to a song to actually understand what it's like from an outside perspective. Because when you're playing it, it feels much different. So we always get to a point where we're like, okay, this song is finished as far as we're concerned now, and then we'll always record a demo of it, and then listen to it, and then make the final touches, and then record like a proper demo of it before going on to record as a, I don't know, like a proper recording, studio recording, whatever. So I think it's at that point where we do the demo, we're like, okay, that's finished. It's really satisfying.
How did that initial demo of Understated then compare to the final thing?
I can't even really remember the.
It's too fast to
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it all happened so quickly.
Specific milestones.
It really is like part of the writing process. It's not like a big event of going through and being like, right, okay, we're going to record the demos. This is going to take weeks. It's just that day we'll set up an 8-track and play it to a click.
In fact,
and set them all up. Yeah.
Go for it. that one, Understated, we literally didn't have. I mean, I had an idea for the chorus, but we didn't have proper melodies and finished vocals until the day we recorded. Like when we recorded this EP, or whatever it is going to be. And I remember Chris saying before he'd even heard the lyrics, he was like, "Nah, this one's going to be my favorite. Like, this one's going to be the best." And then once the melodies came very kind of naturally, it gelled together so much more. I think it's my favorite one of
That
the ones of that bunch. Yeah.
The thing I really like about the track is that there's a slight kind of nervousness to it and a slight insecurity about the kind of, I think we've spoken before, like angular guitars and stuff.
Yeah.
How is that something that's kind of present in the creative side of you as well? How do you channel that into a song?
Nervousness.
Like a slight insecurity as well. It's a slightly on edge song. Like you've got it like with the ending as well, the way it kind of jitters out. And
I don't know. I think as like, I think it's Chris's guitar playing. If it's the same, I don't know if that's the same feeling that you're describing. I feel like
does
it's your
feel
guitar
a bit-
playing. It's very, like you say, angular, like
Off kilter a little bit.
slightly discordant or something. Maybe not discordant. Maybe that's not the right word, but it's definitely just a slightly jarring. But I feel like the way you play bass, it's actually very poppy. So it creates this foundation of like a very almost accessible kind of bass. But then
I think
that
the
kind of nervousness is added, or that edge,
Yeah.
or whatever we want to call it.
I think the vocals could be seen as nervous, maybe. I feel like the way I sing in the chorus is very kind of refined and gentle, if you know what I mean. And maybe, I mean, I was probably quite nervous going into it as well, because I've never properly sang on something like this. I don't know, maybe that came across as well.
yeah, I think it kind of contributes to the overall kind of slightly darker emotion
Yeah,
of the song as well.
yeah, definitely.
Wait,
Definitely.
the two that you've put out are in slightly darker territory than where they kind of lie. How would you describe your worldview? Do you think you're optimistic or pessimistic?
I've heard this question before. I think I'm
I'm a
more
mix.
optimistic than most people I speak to, but maybe it's just the conversations that I have.
I'm a mixed bag. I feel like I go through waves of being optimistic and on top of the world and like nothing's gonna stop me. I don't care what bad news I hear today. And then other times I'm like incredibly down in the dumps and like the world's shit. I think in my vocals or lyrics. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be like sad or. I was. Oh.
You're on top of the world at the moment.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I feel
Calvin.
great.
You're on top of the world when you're playing with us.
Yeah, man. That's true. I feel very optimistic when we're playing and when we're writing. Like, I have a good outlook on what we're doing and the ideas we have. I think my lyrics can often be seen as pessimistic. I seem to always write about hardship rather than good things, which I'm trying to work on. But that seems to be the thing that comes across most naturally. That sometimes I don't even realize till after, like looking back at the song or looking at the lyrics, that it's kind of from a glass half empty point of view. But yeah, and that didn't really answer the question, to be honest.
Maybe it's a release for you though.
Yeah,
It comes
I
across
think so.
pessimistic, but
I think in my day-to-day life, I'm pretty optimistic. I think.
I think lyrics are often like that though. Like when you
Yeah.
write them, you're sort of just like, whatever. I don't know. At least for me, anyway. I'm just kind of like, okay, these are fine. And then you'll look back on them in like a couple of months and be like, that's what that was.
Yeah, definitely.
But sometimes not. Sometimes you will like actually be like, okay, I'm writing about this.
Yeah. I don't think
Not
I've
quite
ever,
as often for me.
I don't think I've ever sat down to write lyrics and gone, right, I'm going to write about this. Like when I'll often come up with kind of a melody idea first and then sing the words that come naturally. So like for Understated, I had the chorus that was like, and I'd do it all again, and then came up with the melody for the verse, and the words that stuck in my head were, I don't think about you anymore. And they're kind of very opposite of each other. But then that seemed to work in the song, that the verse is like against it and the chorus is for it,
Gives that slight self-destructive edge.
Yeah. And then, as I was saying, I didn't really realize that until listening to it after, looking at what I've written.
With what you were speaking about earlier on a wee bit as well, how music offers that escape from things, and you always feel, kind of happy when you're playing with a band. How has music most affected the way you look at the wider world then, and your kind of outlook and your perspective?
Anyone want to take that?
I wouldn't say it changes the way I look at the world, but it enhances certain aspects. So
I would agree with
certain moods you can encapsulate with certain musical vibes, and it can push it further. And you're like, that is what that feeling is. But yeah, I wouldn't say it changes
that.
how I feel.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I sort of like agree and in a way disagree. I think the thing I always, I think what I always like look for in a song is, because I don't know, there's a whole thing that like if you're listening to a new song by a band you don't know, you decide within the first 5 seconds whether you're going to listen to that song. You need to just instantly be hooked. So it needs to, I think a song needs to initially have an emotion that draws you in, and maybe you're like, okay, I'm feeling that right now. Okay, this sounds like how I'm feeling, and then it should reach a point by the end where it's developed on that feeling. So yeah, maybe like you say, enhanced how you're feeling, or maybe completely change it. Like some songs that are maybe a bit more progressive will take you from like maybe a really optimistic place and then turn it on its head by the end of the song, which is really like a song we're writing at the moment, actually, I feel.
What one?
It's the...
Don't want to say what it's called.
the demo name for it right now, Insanity, because it's a bit insane. There's a lot going on in that song, but it definitely takes from like this really like playful kind of mad energy, and then goes into a bit more of an accessible verse, and then the chorus is super poppy, but then it goes through a few sections, and then by
Just remembering how many sections.
Yeah, I know.
So
by the last one, like the second last chorus, where it's a double chorus, so like that chorus that progresses towards the outro, it's just slightly changed tonally, so it's actually just flipped on its head and really feels a lot more darker. I really like how music can do that, how it can just change your emotion or enhance it. Yeah, I think it can do both.
The two choruses is like, it's the same idea, but looking at it from a negative or positive
Yeah.
outlook. It's just the same way as being optimistic or pessimistic.
Just a different
It's the
outlook,
same idea, but the way you're
approaching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm caught up now.
And on that note, thank you very much, guys. Cheers.
Thank you
very much.
Cheers.